Hello, today we are going to install OpenBSD plus the latest KDE Plasma version 5 in a QEMU virtual machine. So this is a recent email sent by Rafael Sadowski, which maintains and has ported KDE 5 to OpenBSD. The commits are these two. So the following ports are now built into binary OpenBSD packages, including Plasma Desktop, KWin the window manager, and there are also two meta packages which are named KDE-Plasma and KDE-Plasma-extras. So the commits are from December 2023. The first day when we had binary packages for OpenBSD for these was January 6th, 2024. So there's KWin in here and Plasma Desktop, this binary package. So the steps are going to be: we'll install the latest version of OpenBSD AMD64 in a QEMU virtual machine. Then we'll upgrade to OpenBSD Snapshot. Then we're going to install the two meta packages. So the names are KDE-Plasma and KDE-Plasma-extras. And then we're going to connect to the virtual machine, not using the virtualization software, but using tigervnc, the server and the viewer. So this is the Wikipedia page for OpenBSD. Says latest release 7.4 from October. Let's go to the website. OpenBSD 7.4. This is the release page with release announcement, news, the binary files, installation instructions for AMD64, okay, and let's find out the ISO file, or the file that we need to write to a CD-ROM in order to boot from the virtualization software. So there's install 74.iso, contains including the X server, whereas cd74.iso does not contain the X server, so we need install 74.iso. And these are additional installation instructions. Okay, so the release page says that there is an FTP page with a list of mirror machines. There's Fastly and Cloudflare, which are content delivery networks. So we'll use that. cdn.openbsd.org/pub/openbsd is one of these content delivery networks. So this will provide better download speeds Let's choose this, and then probably under 7.4. Just a second. So it says under 7.4, there should be a subdirectory AMD64. So this is 7.4 AMD64. And then the file that we want is install74.iso. This thing. Okay, so you need to download this ISO file, which is a CD-ROM image, less than 700 megabytes. I've already downloaded the file. Let's create a virtual machine. New virtual machine. Browse. So install 74.iso. Could not detect. What are we going to write in here? OpenBSD. Forward. Let's make the virtual machine beefy. 10 gigabytes. 15 vCPUs. 200 gigabytes. OpenBSD. Okay, customize before install. Finish. The chipset is really old. Let's go with the newest. BIOS not UEFI. Apply. CPU, this is okay, this is always wrong. Memory is okay. Boot order okay. The disk is VirtIO, which is great. The best performance out of this list. The CD-ROM cannot be IDE, so let's make it SATA. Because Q35 doesn't have IDE. Network interface card VirtIO. Looks okay, let's install. Okay. The install program has already started. The operating system has booted from CD-ROM. Where are the AMD64 instructions? I have a bootable CD-ROM. I have booted. I have a virtual hard disk. I'm not doing PXE. Okay, after the kernel is done initializing, you will be asked whether you wish to install, upgrade, or auto-install. We're going to go install, so I. Choose your keyboard layout default. Set host name, yes. OpenBSD. Available network interface is the VirtIO network interface card. IPv4 IPv6 no. Okay. Should we configure more network interface cards? No, so done. The password for the root account. Start SSHD, yes. Do you expect to run the X Windows system? Yes. Do you want the X Windows system to be started automatically using the desktop manager Xeno? Yes, Xeno DM. Change the default console to COM, which is the serial port. Set up a user. Enter lowercase login name, yes. Admin. Full name for admin. Password for admin. Root is targeted by password guessing attacks. Allow root SSH login. Yes, no, prohibit password, no is okay. What time zone am I in? US Eastern. Available disks are SD0. Encrypt the root disk with a passphrase, no. No valid MBR or GPT. Use whole disk MBR or whole disk GPT. So it wants MBR, not GPT. Let's go with that. What is it trying to do? The auto-allocated layout. So swap partition 10 gigabytes /tmp/var/usr and /home is 110 gigabytes. Okay, what can I say? I want to have just one partition, why more? But this is it. Use auto layout, edit auto layout, create a custom, A for auto layout. Location of the CDs of the sets on the CD. Path name to the sets. Select sets by entering the name. File pattern, all. Selected sets are labeled with X. All of the sets are selected. So I can go done. Directory does not contain SHA-256. Continue without verification. So it's installing the sets. The BSD is the kernel. BSD.mp is the SMP kernel, so a kernel that knows more than one CPU thread. RD is probably the RAM disk. Okay, so base, etc, comp for compilers, manual pages, BSD games, and X server. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sets. Location of sets CD0 done because it installed all of the needed sets. Firmware update, relinking the unique kernel. It's using BSD.mp, not BSD, because we have more than one CPU thread. Reboot. Okay, let's see if the CD-ROM has been removed. It has. Okay, so there was the MBR bootloader, then the operating system boots, the kernel loads. It loads modules, probes for hardware, etc. Starts the OpenSSH server, and I told it to run Xeno DM by default, which it did. Okay. Next up, we're going to install enough packages such that we can survive at the command line. This is the IP address. Let's connect to the virtual machine using SSH. No spaces there. Yes. Password. Let's see if I can become super user. Okay. That works. Let's see if we have do as. We do. So says do as is not enabled. There's no /etc/doas.conf. So let's enable doas. Doas is a package and a binary that's similar to sudo in Linux. Okay, so doas says this error, the file /etc. So at /etc/doas.conf. Let's look at the manual. Doas. So doas is installed the package. Is part of base, not part of a port. Says that doas, the executable, will return an exit status of error, which is greater than 0 when an error occurs if the configuration file could not be parsed. And for the configuration file, we have a manual. There are rules: permit, deny, no pass, no log persist. And there's an example of this file. Okay, let's try to install some packages. For that, we have package add. We have MC, the Orthodox File Manager Midnight Commander. Let's see if it works. So I need to be a super user. It installs the binary packages that are needed by MC. Okay, so it finished. This is MC, F10 to exit. Let's install some more. Package info -q Emacs. So I want to install the Emacs that doesn't require an X server, so no GTK, this thing. Package add, middle click paste. So Emacs is a terminal text editor. This also will install some dependency binary packages. Okay. Let's copy parts of the man page. So we need to copy this file over this file, which does not exist. For that, we need to be super user. Okay, let's see if that this command just works. Let's see if we need to configure the file. Allows the user group wheel by default, which seems to be okay. Control X, C. Control D, and let's see now. And it works. So in order to enable do as for the only user that I have created during the installer, so not the user root but the user admin, I just needed to copy the example configuration file over the configuration file for doas.conf. Okay, let's use bash. Says bash not found. So who am I? I'm the user root. Let's install bash. And that's enough. Let's now switch to OpenBSD. So I want to install the latest and greatest KDE Plasma 6 binary packages. For that, I need to use OpenBSD snapshot. And for that, I need to follow OpenBSD current. So I search OpenBSD snapshot. This is the web page that I'm presented with, following -current and using snapshots, which says that I should run sysupgrade -s. So let's do that. I am the user root. So sysupgrade -s. This will download a new set of sets. So I have already installed the sets for the release version of OpenBSD 7.4. Now we're downloading the sets for snapshots. Okay, so it has downloaded the needed sets, all of them, and then it did a firmware update, and then it rebooted. Now the system is booting, and after that it's installing all of the just downloaded sets. It's actually running a part of the installer, and it pre-populates the responses. /home/_sysupgrade/. Okay, so it installed the sets. It's running firmware update, relinking to create a unique kernel. So it has successfully upgraded everything except the binary packages, the ports. It rebooted. Okay. And now we'll need to also update all of the packages. Let's see. So connect again using OpenSSH. Do as so. Let's see how to upgrade all of the binary packages. Says update installed packages using the option -u. If no name is specified, all of the packages will be installed. Let's do that. Package add -u. lowercase u. Okay, and now the packages, binary packages that it uses are the ones from the snapshot directory, which is this thing. So let's look for a package. So bash 5.5.21. 5.5.21, correct. So I had a very small list of binary packages installed on OpenBSD 7.4. I had Emacs No X, I had MC, and bash. All of these are now updated from the snapshot for AMD64. And now the next thing to do would be to switch to use bash by default for both users, admin and root. And then we'll start installing the graphical user interface packages. So we should use change shell if you have such a thing. So which bash, which change shell. Okay, who am I? I'm the user root. So change shell -s. What is this? So this thing, change shell or change pass -s, the shell, and then the user. Okay, so I have reconnected using OpenSSH, and now the default command line shell is bash. Okay, so let's look at the announcements. And so the two packages that we want are these two meta packages, KDE Plasma and KDE Plasma Extras, which are here. These two. Package add KDE -Plasma, KDE -Plasma extras. Okay, so it will need to install more than 200 packages, binary packages. So we'll pause a bit. So we have finished installing the KDE -Plasma and KDE -Plasma -Extras packages and all of their dependencies. So these are meta packages. Now we have KDE Plasma version 6, including KWin gate, etc. console installed, the very first thing that we want to do is to actually run it and see if it works correctly. For that, the people that have ported KDE Plasma 5 to OpenBSD have a recommended way of starting KDE Plasma. I have searched for OpenBSD package search KDE Plasma, and one of the possibilities is openports.pl, and I got to this page where it says how we should start Plasma. So the executable is name/usr/local/bin/start plasma -x11. And if we started using startx, we need in our home directory a .xinitrc file. If we're starting it with xenodm, then we need in our home directory a .xsession file. So let's actually do that. So I'm in the home directory as user admin. Let's create, because we're using xenodm, let's create this file. And the content should be this one. That's if local base is defined. So let's see if it is or not. Set. So there's just lines and log name. There's no local base. So let's find out where start plasma -x11 is in the expected place, because it was installed from binary packages which are built from OpenBSD ports. So this last thing should be like this. Ctrl XS, Ctrl XC. And now we can log in as our user admin using xenodm. This is xenodm. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it has started something, and the resolution of the virtual machine is a bit bigger than the resolution of the virtualization software. For that, we're going to change the resolution of the virtual machine. This thing. And make it 16 by 9. So 720p. Keep. And now, if you move the cursor, the mouse cursor, at the edges of the window, the desktop will not scroll. Okay, so now we have KDE Plasma 6 running correctly in an OpenBSD virtual machine. The problem is that we cannot use a larger resolution than 720p. And we'll fix this by installing the VNC server tigervnc inside of the virtual machine, and then using tigervnc client on the host machine. Let's actually log out. How do we do that? Let's see if it works. So we should be back at XenoDM, which we are. Next up, let's install packages on the virtual machine. Do as su. So package info -q in order to search packages, and it's Tiger. Okay, the name is tigervnc as we expected. Okay, let's start tigervnc. So says VNC server, and then if we want a X server number, if not, it's going to compute one correctly. And then we have a geometry width times height, which will make it be a bit less than 1080p. And then we don't want to become a daemon. We want it to have it in the foreground, so -fg. Okay, so VNC server minus geometry, and 1080p, that's 1920 by 1080, but we need to leave some space for the title bar and for the KDE Plasma panel on the left hand side of the host display. So that's make this 4 and make this 88, and then -fg. Needs a password. The password needs to be at least 6 characters. I will not use a view-only password. So it started a VNC server, an X server on colon 1. And it has created files for the user root, which is very wrong because this is not what I wanted. But at least the VNC server has closed correctly. Control D. I want to run the VNC server as my own user admin. The same command line. Viewer only password, no. Okay, and it has created some configuration files in the .vnc directory in my home directory. And the most important of which is this guy, which is the equivalent to .xinitrc. Okay, let's open a new tab. So we're in the host machine right now. So we need to install the tigervnc VNC viewer. So I'm on Ubuntu 23.10. So that's apt search tiger grep VNC. And it's tigervnc viewer, this guy. apt install. Okay, already installed. Control D. The executable is the tigervnc viewer, which is offered as an alternative under this name, VNC viewer. So we do not need to specify the display because :1 probably is the default, we'll see. We need to specify the host name. So the host name is this IP address. And that should be it. So IP address 192.168.122.31. Let's specify the X server. Okay. So :1, the at least 6 characters long password. And now we're connected from the host machine using a VNC client named VNC viewer from tigervnc, using the VNC protocol to the virtual machine, to the tigervnc VNC server, which is actually an X server. How do we exit here? Not like this. I'm not sure how I close this thing. Okay. And now I need to be connected to the virtual machine using OpenSSH. Create a new tab. SSH, admin, add this thing. And we have this configuration file for XenoDM, X session. And we want also the VNC server, when it starts an X server, to use the same configuration file. So that's in the .vnc directory. This guy, X startup, let's look at it. So by default, it starts a xterm and twm, which we do not want. Okay. So cd.vnc. Let's move out this file. Let's copy the file, make a backup. So X startup, like this. Okay. So we need to replace all of these, Control K to kill lines, with bash or exec /home/admin /x session. So this thing, /home/admin/x session. Bash /home/admin/x session. Looks okay. Let's actually reboot. This should be it. If we're lucky, everything will work correctly. So we already can use the virtualization software, which is Virt Manager. to start the graphical user interface session and KDE Plasma 6, but we do not want to do that. We do not want to use the virtualization software. We want to use either a remote desktop protocol client, RDP client, or a VNC client. Okay, in here we had the VNC client. The VNC viewer, we need to actually start the VNC server first. Okay. How do we start this thing? Ctrl-Shift-V. Okay, so it shows the same X server, so :1. We can reuse the same command line to connect from the host, so VNC viewer space the IPv4 address, then :1. Password. And we're inside KDE Plasma, which is running inside the VNC server, which is then connected to the host machine using the VNC protocol to the tigervnc viewer. In here, we can resize the tigervnc VNC viewer window, which will also resize the virtual machine. So now the virtual machine has this mega strange resolution, 469 times 188 ratio. Which is what we want. We want the VNC client window. If we resize it, it should also resize the virtual machine. And we also want, if possible, but that's extra bonus points, to be able to copy text using the clipboard from the host machine to the guest machine. Which works correctly. So both copy and paste of text works from the virtual machine to the host machine, and from the host machine to the virtual machine, and then we can also resize the virtual machine. If we can resize the virtual machine so easy by just resizing the VNC client, then we could use the web browser running on the host machine. We can skip installing a web browser inside the virtual machine because we can just navigate in the right hand side, and then whatever we want, a link or something, we can just paste inside of the virtual machine. If not, then we would need to install software in here. So let's see all applications. What we have by default, we have the terminal emulator from KDE console. We have the screenshot tool. We have the PDF viewer Ocular. We have Kate, the text editor. KCalc, the desktop calculator, the image viewer, the file manager, the unzipper tool. So let's take console and add it to favorites. In favorites, we should have Kate and console. Not there yet. Add to favorites. Okay, it does not work. Then we can search in here. And we'll need to pin it to the task manager, which is the KDE Plasma panel. Okay, this thing is the App Store which does not work on OpenBSD, so let's unpin it. So again, you'll need to decide if you want a virtual machine, a web browser also inside the virtual machine or just in the host, because the VNC client is so good, it allows you to resize the window, it allows you to copy paste text. You can survive with a web browser just in the host machine. If not, we'll install it. So let's actually do that. The package name is, of course, Firefox. So I'll install Firefox, I'll set it up, and then that's about it. We have created a virtual machine. Oh, what's this? Internet. Okay, so it's pinned automatically into the task manager. Don't import anything, skip, start browsing. Let me do a bit of configuring here. The downloads I need back. Where are you? Here. Okay. And then the settings. So tabs should start with a blank page, which they do. And downloads should always ask. Okay. And now we have a web browser in our installation of OpenBSD. And that's it. So we have installed in a QEMU virtual machine OpenBSD, the latest version. We've switched to Snapshot. We've installed from Snapshot the first version of KDE Plasma 5, including KWindow Window Manager, applications, KDE Frameworks version 5, a very recent version inside the OpenBSD. And then we're connecting to the OpenBSD machine, virtual machine, using the VNC protocol, because that has advantages over using the virtualization software. With the virtualization software, we cannot change the resolution to something more than 720p. We cannot use crazy resolutions like this one. And also copy paste will not work. Whereas using VNC, these two things work correctly. Thank you.